Okay, so I'm gonna try to do like a getting started guide uh, to DayZ. I've seen quite a lot of people asking on Reddit, so I want to make a video about that. So I'm gonna use that stream to do this. So first of all, you spawn on the beach, on the coast somewhere, in Chinaris, and you'll have a bandage, a glow stick, and a piece of fruit. If you're playing Chinaris, you won't have a piece of fruit if you play on Livonia. Um, you'll have a t-shirt, some pants, and shoes. And this t-shirt and the pants, they've got inventory slots, so that's your pockets where you can put all your stuff. So your t-shirt's got 12, and your crop hiking pants have got 20. Now those are just very basically just in your inventory, and you can upgrade your clothes and get find better clothes, and upgrade your slots, get more slots for better clothes. So that's how that works. You can also, you'll see at the bottom of the screen here, there's buttons telling you what to do. So hold left stick to quick slot. Now what that does is that gives you a radial menu, and you can assign items in your inventory to the quick slot. So this is very useful when you need to grab something quickly out of your pocket, so you don't have to press back and go through this inventory management. That's very useful for things like guns, melee weapons, and all of the rest of it. Now, of course, when you start here, it can be quite daunting because you don't have anything to defend yourself with. You have a piece of fruit, and you don't have very good clothes. It's cold. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, on the left-hand side, we've got a bar with a man standing up. Now, if you press B, you go, or hold B, you can go into prone position or crouching position. Now, this bar next to that's all that indicates. This bar next to that is where you have your stamina, you can sprint, and that's the basic player control. You can't sprint forever. You can on some servers, but in vanilla DayZ, the official service, which I suggest you start out on, you have limited stamina. Now, of course, to sprint, you press left stick, and you can find all the player controls on this screen here. Now, it will be different for PlayStation, and of course, you can press Y to change the control scheme. But this is a control scheme I'm using, and it shows you all the buttons, and that's great. Another thing that new players don't realize is if you double tap left bumper, you can zoom in with your eyes, which is a bit funny, but you can sort of squint your eyes and get more detail. And of course, if you're playing on a server that's got third person, you can switch between third person and first person using the right stick. So, as I said, all these controls are found on this page here. Now we cover the bottom left of the screen, the bottom right of the screen. Those are your core stats. Now, starting from the left, we've got bottle, and that is your hydration stat. So, if you drink water, that will go up. But otherwise, it will constantly be going down. So you need to keep an eye on that one. It has 4 different levels, different statuses. You've got yellow, which is where it is now. That's you are thirsty. When it goes red, that's kind of getting to the critical. When it's flashing red, that's really like you need to drink now because you are dying. And then you've got white with a little gap, and then you've got full white, which means you have plenty of water inside you. Same goes for the apple. The apple is food, obviously. Next to it, you've got a little thermometer bar. That will tell you your temperature, and you can raise your temperature by sprinting. See the arrows going up. Now I'm sprinting. I'm warming up. Or by getting clothes. So if I get a warm hat or maybe a face scarf or better clothing, that will go to white, and I'll be okay. Having it on light blue doesn't hurt you at all. If you are on dark blue, that means you're really cold. That could be because your clothes are ruined, or you've gone for a swim in the water and your clothes are wet. And that will slowly drain your health. And then we've got the last two. We've got what looks like a teardrop. It's actually a drop of blood. That is your blood. So if you get cut, you have to bandage. And otherwise you will lose blood on that stat. So that is critical. If you lose all of your blood, you die. And if you get yellow blood or red blood, the screen goes sort of black and white. So that's the basics there. And the one on the right is obviously your health, your overall HP in the game. And now, what I suggest when you're starting off is not to sprint around so much. Because you will burn more calories. You can see those arrows at the bottom pointing downwards from my water and apple stat. Now, if I sprint, those will go down loads. That will have 3 down arrows. But if I just sit here, I won't use that many calories. So that's the basic premise. So when you start up and you're struggling to find food, it's better not to sprint around because you'll burn more calories. Okay, that's useful. Finding a gun in the first house, so that's very nice. It doesn't always happen like that, I swear. So yeah. Now when we coming to looting, so obviously I've just spawned by this town, and a really key thing to do when you start off playing DayZ is to find this road sign outside of the town. It's always going to be on the road, on the outskirts of town. And of course it's written in Russian, in that alphabet that I can't remember the name of now. Is it Sanskrit? No, that's Southeast Asia. But whatever, you got this Slavic writing, and that doesn't make things any easier, but you can of course check a map online or try to figure out what this... you can use this to find out where you are, basically. So I am in... This is Solnichi. And that's, especially if you're playing with other players, playing with friends, that's a really good way to figure out where you are so you can better meet up with them. So yeah, about looting the houses. At the start it is kind of a race against time, but you have time. You don't need to stress. So just look around the place. So usually things can spawn on beds, tables, behind the tables, on the floor, on top of fireplaces. It can spawn all different places, right? Clothes, items, whatever. It can spawn in many different places. So it's all about looting up and trying to look very carefully. If you're new to the game, look very carefully and try to get used to where the loot spawns inside certain houses, because they do have more or less fixed points. So that will make life a whole lot easier. What doesn't make life easier is these guys, obviously zombies. It's a key element of the game. It is a zombie survival game. And so these guys, they will... It's better to be a bit stealthy about it, but if you come into hand-to-hand combat with them, here's what you can do. If you just got your fists, you press left trigger to raise them, and if you walk backwards, it's just like Tekken. You walk backwards, you're blocking. So I'm not taking any damage from this guy because I'm blocking him. Yeah. And if I want to punch him, I got to have my fist raised again, and press right. There we go. That's a normal punch. And if I hold Y, there we go. We've got a big, heavy punch, and that takes up more stamina. You can see in the left, bottom left of my screen, my stamina went down there because I was fighting this guy. When you kill zombies, it's important to have a look. This little plus by the infected, that means the zombie has something that you can take from him. It has some loot inside its inventory. So you go to the inventory screen, and on the left-hand side, you've got this vicinity. And there you can see this is what the infected has. He doesn't have anything in his pockets, but he's got a nice red hat. We'll take that. Zombies are a really good way of finding food. So if you are very desperate for food like I am now, I'm on red apple right now, so my health is actually going down, as you can see on my status bars to the right. So it is really important that you make use of zombies if you're struggling to find food, because they do spawn food. That is a good source of food. That's important to know when you're first starting out. Otherwise, key thing here for me to be able to survive this situation is finding a knife. So I'm going to try to be a little bit sneaky here. Don't want to aggro too many zombies onto me. So just gonna... I found a glow plug. Okay, probably not going to use that. A better helmet. I'll take that. Okay, I've been spotted by a zombie outside. That's fine. So it is a bit of a race against time. Of course, I've been doing it slow to try and explain stuff. But being red apple now, you know, you've got to get a move on. You've got to try to find some food. Of course, the area I'm looting now, this is kind of industrial, so it's not a good chance of finding food in these buildings. But I might find food off these zombies, and I might find a weapon. Like a knife or something here, and a knife is really key to be able to survive, because if you've got a knife you can craft all sorts of things, and it'll make it easier to get food. You can make fishing rods, and there we go, I've found a knife just in time. Of course, I've got the apple that I started with. I can use that, but you know, I could eat that raw as it is. Or I could cook it up. If I cook this apple and eat it, I will get a lot more calories. So my apple will, my food stat will go up for a longer period of time. So that's what I'm going to do. That's quite a good tip if you're really struggling for food, is to not eat your apple or pear right off the bat. And try to find a knife. Chop down some bushes, as I'm doing now, to get sticks. So I've got short sticks now, and with the knife you can then find a tree. Let's take one of these trees. I can use this knife to cut off some bark. From that bark I can combine it and craft it with the short sticks that I've gathered in order to make a hand drill kit. Now a hand drill kit is basically a lighter. I don't need it because I've got matches, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. So when I've got the dark bark in my hands and I go to my inventory and hold B, or that could be something else on PlayStation, circle I guess, then I've got these options. I can craft a fireplace, or I can scroll down a little bit and I've got craft a hand drill kit. Now I want to craft a hand drill kit. Then I'm going to find a fireplace in a house. So make sure I pick that up, because that doesn't go directly into my inventory. You see, that's landed on the floor. Make sure I take that. And now I'm going to find a nice house to make this fire. And to make a fire, all you need is something to light the fire, of course. You need sticks or firewood, and you need bark. So getting that knife was really key for me to survive here. as you can hear in the background, my stomach is starting to rumble quite loudly. You'll get that sound when you're on red apple. That means you're really hungry. So of course you can hear other players that are really hungry. If you're really hungry, it's not very easy to sneak up on people. Now, you'll find in towns, you'll find some trees. I'm not sure if this is a fruit tree or not, but there are fruit trees. And I'll just go quickly make a detour here. Now, fruit trees are a key element for survival. It really helps in order to get started up, especially when you're struggling to find food. If you find trees that look like this, these are fruit trees. You see those red things on them? Those are apples. Those are pieces of fruit, and eventually they will drop fruit. If you're in the area for long enough, or if there's another player in the area before you, there will be fruit under these trees. So it's really important to check those. So we've got about 3 or 4 fruit trees here, and we can come back to that. We're going to make the fire first, cook this apple, bake this apple, get more calories. Find a good sledgehammer there. Get more calories. And I'm going to assign this stuff to my hotbar in case we need it. We're going to get more calories from this cooked apple. Do a little bit of looting, and then we'll come back to those fruit trees, and hopefully by that time some fruit would have dropped, and we can get more food. That's a real key element to survival in this game. As you can see at the bottom right of the screen, my health, my HP is going down. So it's going down slowly, but it is going down. So in these situations, it's really important to make sure that you're not taking any silly hits from zombies, because your health won't be able to go back up if you're on red apple. And stuff like that. So just take it a bit more slow if you're struggling and your health is going down. Okay, this looks like a good house to cook up. Make a fire. There's some bullets in here as well. And of course, this server that I'm playing on right now, for the purposes of trying to show a how-to video, it's a low pop server, so we probably won't be bumping into many people. And there's probably going to be a little bit more loot available because there's not so many people on the server. So that's also a thing I suggest, that if you're just starting out in the game, try to find a low or medium population server to start on, because you'll have a higher chance of finding loot. When you play on a high pop server, the survival element's a bit more difficult, because there are more players to take more loot in front of you. So that's something to be aware of. Now, I've just quickly lit up this fire. I did that by placing a piece of bark in here. That's my kindling. You could also use paper or rags, and putting in the fuel, and that could be firewood or sticks. Then I've just put the apple into the cooking slot, and as you can see, it's right on top there, on top of the stove, and it's real quick to cook. So once it's cooked like that, you've got to make sure to take it off the fire real quick, otherwise it will burn and you won't be able to eat it. So now we've got our cooked apple, and that will give us a lot more calories than just a raw apple. So that's good. So as you can see now, both my hydration and my apple's going up, so that's really good. Hopefully that'll go back up to yellow, and I can look around for some more food. Hopefully we can find a can of food. Here's another fruit tree. It takes a while for you to be able to get to identify them, but once you get used to looking at them, they're pretty easy to spot, I think. So I'm just going to loot around this town, try to kill some zombies. There's a can of cat food, that's really good. Some cans you need to have a knife or a can opener to open. This was a pull ring, so I don't need that. So what I recommend is to, when you find food, eat it as quickly as possible. You need your food and water stats to go up. But here, if you look in the left-hand corner, I've got a new symbol, and that is my stomach. And that means that I've eaten too much too quickly. So I should stop eating, otherwise I may be sick. So I'm going to put that back in my pocket for now. Raincoat, I'll take that. So when you switch your clothes like I just did there, the piece of clothing will switch with the item you just picked up. So my t-shirt's now on the floor with all the stuff that I had in my pockets in. So that does not automatically transfer over. This is something I see all the time in new players when they switch clothes. They forget to take the things out of their pockets. So all you've got to do is just pick up those things, and there we go. Make sure that your clothes are empty when you're changing them. So there's a bunch of houses here. There's also a little general store which you can find hunting stuff. That could be a knife, that could chlorine tablets, which are useful if you've got a water bottle and you need to purify water. These places can also, you can find bullets and sometimes even a rifle. Here we've got a good backpack, so that's great. Backpacks give me 63 inventory space, so perfect. Really, really good. Now, in almost every town on the map, you've got a well. This water pump you can see here. Now, these are really important because that's going to help me get my water stat up. It's going to help me hydrate. And you could do that, you just have to walk up to the well. If you don't have a water bottle, that's fine. Well, there's a battery there. It's fine, you could just drink with your hands. If you've got a water bottle, put the water bottle in your hands and fill it up. Oh, it sounds like there's a truck nearby with another player. That's weird. Did not expect a car to drive past. Oh, this is like pop server. Yeah, so you can drink up at the well, and of course you can see that my hydration stat is going up. It takes quite a little bit of time if you're just drinking with your hands. It's much quicker to do it with a bottle of water or any kind of container. So containers you can fill up with water are the plastic water bottle, you've got the canteen, and you've got a cooking pot, and I think there are a few other items if you're on modded servers, but those are the three main ones I can remember off the top of my head. So now you can see that my hydration stat has gone up to white. That's great, that's where we want it to be. My food is still on yellow, so I'll finish up that cat food. Maybe look around on the trees because probably some fruit is spawned now. I think this might also be a fruit tree. Yeah, as you can see, if you look on the floor here, there is a plum. Now, that plum is badly damaged, but it's raw and not rotten. So you got to make sure that when you pick up fruit off the trees that they're not rotten. You can, of course, eat dried plums. This is a dried plum here. That's not rotten either. If you hover over in your inventory management, you can see that it's dried, and as long as it's not rotten, it's okay. You can tell when it's rotten. It looks rotten. This blue building here, this is a hospital. So you can find medical supplies here. It's a really good place to check. In a lot of towns, you'll find hospitals. The three sort of main buildings that people tend to loot are hospitals. See, this zombie had some chlorine tablets. The three main buildings are sort of like hospitals, police stations, and fire stations. So those are where you can find good stuff. Those are the main ones to get started. You want to check those. Make sure you be checking those in each town, because you need medical supplies. You're going to need more bandages. You might need pills because it's easy to get sick. So make sure you're taking tetracycline pills. So that's good if I've got a cold or something like that. Of course, a good thing to do if you've got two zombies on you at once, like I've got now, you might be in a bit of trouble. So it's good to sort of try to trap them in there. Not like this, because I'm doing a bad job of it. But if you can trap the zombies inside, it's a little bit easier to deal with. So you don't have to fight two at once. You can just trap them inside. So they're now stuck inside that building now. They can't come out and get me. Obviously, you should do a little bit better than what I just demonstrated there, because I took quite a few hits from that. But still on yellow food, so I'm going to eat my food. Obviously, I recommend checking all the houses and stuff. But I'm just going to try to streamline a little bit. So these two-handed weapons, like the sledgehammer, for example, they're really good on the heavy hits and regular hits. You can kill zombies in one with them. So sledgehammers and any two-handed weapons like splitting axe or fire axe or something, they're really good for killing zombies. So I recommend you try to find one of those. See? Bam. Easy. Of course, the Solnichi. What other buildings have we got? We have a little train station here, and we have this military barracks. Now, by the coast, these don't usually spawn that much good gear, but you might find a handful of bullets. You may find better clothing like this, patrol pants, CUU jacket. So again, I've switched in clothes, so I've got to make sure I take out my old clothes, my old items. So look, now I look more like a proper military guy now. I actually want to keep the rain jacket instead. And well, sometimes you find guns apparently. So that's good. So we've got a gun. We can better defend ourselves now. We've got two guns. Found a magazine here. So things are looking great. So you can go on mag. Sorry that my inventory is pretty messy. You can of course move stuff around in your inventory to make it a bit more organized. I usually don't spend too much time on it. Another important thing to mention, so those are like military buildings, you can check those. Sometimes some towns have them. When you're a new player, it's really important if you're in a town, you got to find one of these maps, because this will really help you. That big red dot is like you are here. So make sure you come and try to look around and find these, because it will help you a lot. So there we go. It says Solnichi, and it's got the Russian writing underneath as well. So this can help you navigate. So if I wanted to head north, or if I wanted to head south, or if I want to head inland, usually what people do is they find enough food in the town that they spawn in order to head inland. And I can hear a chicken somewhere. Sorry, Mr. Chicken. So if I kill this chicken, I can skin it, and that's the same with any kind of animal. So you can hunt bigger animals, of course, and that's going to be key to your survival in the later stages of the game. A very, very, very important thing to note: when I've cut up this chicken or any animal, fish, whatever, you got to look at your hands because now they're covered in blood. And this can give me some really nasty diseases. This could give me salmonella. Of course, I've got some medicine to treat that, but I'd really rather not have to get that disease. So, when you've got bloody hands, do not eat anything. This plum, do not eat it when you've got bloody hands. Do not drink anything when you've got bloody hands. When you've got bloody hands, all you have to do is find a source of water and you can wash them. That's it. That will clean your hands. Look, we're back to these fruit trees and now we've got some fruit on them. This one is rotten. This one is good to go. It's dried. Here we go. Find another apple here. Good. So you got to be really careful of those diseases like salmonella. Of course, if I'm touching the fruit here in real life, that might cause some contamination. But for the sake of the game, you only get the disease if you're actually eating and touching your mouth. So it's fine. So now I'm back with the world. I've got dirty hands. I can wash my hands. I just have to press X. Make sure you don't hold X because then you'll start drinking and that will give you disease. Now my hands are clean. It's good to go. Alright, I think I'm going to head up north. We've got a little bit of gear. I think we've got enough food for now. We can make another fire and cook up that chicken. Of course, because the chicken's raw. We don't want to eat raw chicken. And yeah, just get on with our adventure. Those are the basics, really. Of course, should try to loot up the town a bit more than I did. Check all the houses and stuff if you think they haven't been checked. Good way to tell if they haven't been checked is, you know, if the doors are open or something. That doesn't always tell you if there's loot. If there's no loot inside, there could always be loot, even if the doors are open. But if the doors are shut, it might be a good indicator that no one's checked it since the server has restarted, or it could also mean that someone is inside. So, you know, you never really can tell with these things. So just take it with a grain of salt and just try to loot up as best you can.